What is happening to Wonderlands, or what has happened to Wonderlands? If you haven't noticed, I haven't posted a video in about a week, and I've came back to a lot of stuff that has happened between updates that has came out to Wonderlands, the Wonderlands community going back and forth on the changes and the way the game is now, and there is a DLC releasing in like 3 days as of recording this. So there's a bunch of stuff happening in Wonderlands right now, and I kind of want to reflect on everything, give my opinions on everything that happened, and just talk about everything that's going on. So the gameplay you're going to see in the background is my Deathbringer build after the hotfix, so you can kind of see how everything is still performing on my end. But I kind of want to just get into the nitty gritty and start talking about everything. So if you guys do enjoy and would like to see more videos like this, subscribe, drop a like, turn notifications on, and let's just jump right into this. So first things first, let's go on and start talking about the hotfix. I know this is the main topic on every single Wonderlands channel right now. Every Wonderlands player, this is what everyone is talking about, because we had a pretty big hotfix that nerfed a lot of stuff. To go on and address the elephant in the room, yes, the liquid cooling nerf is probably the main thing most people are concerned about, and even something like the clawbringer nerf, or fix as they said, is also something to be concerned about. Now I want to go on and give my opinion on that, because like I said, a lot of the community are going back and forth on if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Is it too much? Anything like that, just anything. There's a bunch of different conversations talking about how the future of the game needs to go. And in my opinion, I do think nerfs are good for the game. Yes, I do think the nerf to the liquid cooling was insanely too much. If they wanted to fix whatever problem that was with the gun, for sure, and maybe nerf it a little bit, I'm pretty sure you got nerfed around 65% damage, which is just crazy, because honestly, a lot of legendaries in Wonderlands are not that strong, and I think they could just equally be as powerful as the liquid cooling was. They 100% should have not have nerfed the liquid cooling as much, and I also don't think they should have changed or nerfed the clawbringer, because everybody pretty much agrees that clawbringer is the worst class in the game right now. Yes, you can make it do some crazy things if you multi-class it right, and but just compared to the other classes, they have skills that literally just don't do anything most of the time, and they just went out and nerfed that class, which is very weird, over something like the Sword Warner, which I don't think needs a nerf. But if they were to nerf something between Swole War and Spell Shot, those two are the ones that definitely deserve the nerf, not the Clawbringer, which is just weird. So it makes it look like the balance of the team, like, I guess, has different priorities than what the community has with the game, which I think overall in the future, everything will be addressed. But just as a start, nerfing the Clawbringer at the beginning was just a weird thing to do. But even though they are weird nerfs, I 100% still do think that stuff in the game does need to be changed. There needs to be nerfs, there needs to be buffs. And I know a lot of people don't like that opinion. They say it's a PvE game, but nerfs and buffs and just changes to overall to the game is what keeps the game fresh. If you look at literally any game nowadays, every game does it. It can be multiplayer games, it can be PvE games, it can be like Destiny, it's both multiplayer and PvE. Literally every game has changes, not only to obviously address OP things that need to be fixed, it's also to just keep the game fresh. If something is extremely broken for a long time, where it's literally the only thing to use, you're never going to want to use anything else, and everybody's going to quit playing the game. That's just kind of the way it is. But there's also the other side of the coin, where people that hate nerfs, if nerfs do come through, they're also going to leave the game because they think PvE games shouldn't have nerfs. So there's two sides of it. There needs to be a thin balance of it both, because I do think nerfs like the liquid cooling got is absurd. It should not have gotten as much damage as it did. If anything, they should have tried to nerf stuff up to it and see how the game worked first, and then maybe tone everything back down a little bit if you were too strong. But I don't think it would have been too strong, because honestly, the liquid cooling, I think we're already okay in the game. Like, it just other stuff needed to kind of be on level. They should not have nerfed it as much, and specifically things like the Clawbringer, other stuff should have received a nerf first if they are planning on nerfing classes. Clawbringer should have been the last on the list, not the first. Maybe that was the easiest to fix, but it is what it is, and that's what we got. But I do imagine that in other hotfixes, we're gonna have huge hotfixes that probably change a lot of the stuff as well. So just go on and be prepared for that. And I can go and tell you, they probably have already seen a bunch of the feedback that people are already saying, and they are probably not going to try to nerf stuff dramatically as much. Heck, they might even buff the liquid cooling back up like another 30%, which could be good. But I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, and we'll just have to wait and see. Now, I want to take a look at some of you guys' comments on my community post so I can see your guys' opinions as well. So if we actually take a look at our first comment, we have Gage Mestro saying, unlike most, I don't have much problems with most of the changes. The exceptions being the background and Clawbringer changes. Clawbringer being the only class nerfed is just laughable. The background change is ridiculous to do if we can't also change it with respect. So pretty much right here, I think this comment says it all. I 100% agree with this. I think nerfs and changes are just a normal part of a game, but I also think changes to, like I said, the Clawbringer, as I talked about in the previous part of this video, is just laughable, as he says. And also, I didn't even mention that the background changes. So, you know, whatever character you pick, or whatever, like, you know, style of character you pick, village idiot, all those types of things, they randomly just change those as well, which could dramatically, you know, make your build different and change to what you actually want to pick as your starter, which is very weird. And like you said, you can't actually go back and change it in quick change. I think that is very, very bad. I 100% think that should either be reverted, or we should have a, you know, every time they make a change like this in a hotfix, we should be able to change it when we log into the game at least one time. Because if they change village idiot from, you know, the 8 strength you get, I think it's 8 off the top of my head, down to like 4, I mean, you're probably not going to take village idiot if you have a specific build for, say, something like spells. So that is a very bad change in my opinion, and they should really let you change that in quick change, or just revert the change in general. But then moving on to another comment, we have Bilbo Baggins right here saying the all nerf in isolation is fine. The skill is way overtuned. Problem is, however, that is basically the only thing that the Clawbringer has going for it. Had they buffed other skills, especially the capstone, then the nerf would have been fine, because the Clawbringer would see an overall buff. So I 100% agree with this. Like I said earlier, the Clawbringer has skills that just literally don't do anything half the time, especially their capstone. It's very, very weak. And if they actually would have nerfed a bunch of the other Clawbringer skills and changed what they wanted to do with all, I think it would have been received very well. And again, we probably will like receive more buffs through later hotfixes, but it is like a stab in the back, because we only received that all change, and that's it in this hotfix, alongside the liquid cooling nerf, which everybody was already up in arms about. But hopefully we will see more Clawbringer changes in the future. Now we have Andrew Lee saying the gun changes were a healthy nerf for the longevity of the game. You never want a crutch weapon to be the most viable. Now I do agree with him that, you know, gun changes will help the longevity of the game, but I also don't think liquid cooling was a crutch weapon, so to speak. Obviously it was extremely good and it was the best weapon in the game. I just think a lot of other stuff needs to be brought up to the liquid cooling, or liquid cooling just nerfed a little bit. Not like it was. They changed it and kind of gutted it completely. It still is like a decent weapon, but it is just not the same anymore. Now we have Takio Masaki saying this isn't a fighting game and they nerfed everything but the puddles and self-damage. Now I'm pretty sure when he's saying this isn't a fighting game, he's kind of saying that it shouldn't receive nerfs because it's a PvE game, but I do disagree with that. But I do agree the fact that they have not nerfed the puddles self-damage yet, because they are aware of that, and having that still in the game is just extremely annoying. And I would very much love for them to change that over nerfing stuff that doesn't really need to be nerfed. But we will hopefully eventually get a change for that, but we'll just have to wait and see again on that. Then finally we have Mick Mayor right here. Sorry if I butchered your name, but he says, I think this is a good hotfix, just at the wrong time. They should have buffed some gear and skills before nerfing so many top tier weapons. I think this sums it all up. This is 100% the best way to go about this. It is a good hotfix on paper, maybe not like everything that needed to happen, but it's just at the wrong time. Like, they should have actually fixed a bunch of the other stuff that people are complaining about in the game first, before they went out and tried to nerf top tier weapons, because it does leave a bad mark on the community and makes you just not want to play the game. If we actually just look at it, say they went out and buffed all the Clawbringer skills, or just Clawbringer in general, because they're just not the greatest. They buffed a bunch of legendaries that just weren't that good in the game, you know, compared to some purple weapons. You know, they fixed the loot luck situation that everybody complains about. They fixed the self-damage situation. They did all that to begin with. They would have been praised. Everybody would have loved everything that they're doing. But the fact that they went out and actually nerfed stuff that didn't really even need to be nerfed right now, that was the first thing, that was their priority. It kind of leaves a bad mark, like I already said, and I definitely think they could have went about this in a different way. But overall, I do think we are going to receive changes that we do need. You know, buffing legendaries, buffing Clawbringer, maybe having the option to change your starting route, anything like that. They are going to continue to change those. But once again, nerfs, buffs, and changes to, you know, things in the game are very good for a game. Not just a multiplayer game, a PvE game as well. It's just they need to go about it in a different way, and they need to prioritize other things first. But anyway, I think that's going to do all for me in this video. Like I said, we do have our DLC coming out in a couple days, so expect to see a bunch of content on that, so stick around to the channel. Let me know what you guys think about all the changes and my opinions on the whole ordeal. I would love to know. And if you did make it this far in the video, be sure to comment I made it with the smiley face, and I'll try to leave a heart on it. I do try to read all my comments, even if I don't get to respond to them all. So if you want me to see something, be sure to drop a comment below. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.